Hello. In this clip from our Justia webinar, Understanding Loan Transactions for the Non-Finance Attorney with Jake Rome, he gives an introduction about loan transactions and the role of an attorney in the process. Remember, if you want to see more Justia videos on law practice and legal marketing, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Welcome to Understanding Loan Transactions for the Non-Finance Attorney. I'm going to be your presenter. My name is Jake Rome. I'm a finance associate and I work in Chicago, Illinois. The firm I work at primarily deals with debt financing transactions, and we represent a lot of institutional lenders. We specialize in healthcare lending, so lending against nursing homes, small hospitals, etc. The purpose of today's webinar is going to be directed towards attorneys who do not frequently come into contact with loan transactions. And I wanted to put this together because I know that the documentation process can feel opaque and a little arcane. We use a lot of technical language that non-finance attorneys don't come into contact with frequently. So we want to kind of demystify a little bit of that process. And I wanted to do this because I'm a younger attorney and I could still kind of remember what it was like getting into this field. And I still have a fresh memory of a lot of the questions that I was asking when I was in the training process and first coming into contact with these loan documents. So I feel like I'm in a good position to answer a lot of the intuitive questions that you may have. So we're going to start by going over some instances of when you may actually encounter loan documents as a non-finance attorney. And it probably will happen more frequently in your career than you might originally think. So the first one is going to be you run a small law firm. You have a client who's a longtime client, and they're going to be buying their first or maybe even their second home, and they want your assistance in that process. And this is going to lead to you reviewing mortgage documents. Most home purchases involve a mortgage. Here, you may actually review a few different types of loans. The standard mortgage is going to be a term loan. We'll get to that later. And then a HELOC, or a second reverse mortgage, is going to be a non-revolving line of credit. We're going to get to that later as well. So we're forecasting a little bit of what we're going to get to later in the presentation. The second instance in which you may come in contact with loan documentation process as a non-finance attorney is going to be if you have a client who is also a small business owner. So we're going to touch on a few SBA loans that you should be just generally familiar with because they're both really popular and could easily come up in your practice. So the first one is going to be the SBA 504. These loans are given to what's called owner-occupiers. So these are all real estate mortgages, and they're going to be given for non-investment properties. So you have a small business client, and they're going to be buying their first commercial space. The SBA 504 program is a very popular one. I've encountered this a lot, not just in my finance practice, but also when I used to do commercial real estate transactions. I've seen the 504 program be used to great effect to a lot of small business owners. It's a really great program. One of the attractive features of the 504 loan from the SBA is that they're all fixed term or fixed interest, meaning that they really do a great job for small businesses because small businesses have very specific cash flows, and the fixed interest loan allows them to forecast 5, 10, 15 years out exactly what interest they're going to be paying so they can budget the entire loan up front. The second SBA loan, real quick, that you should be familiar with is a 7A. It's a little less popular than the 504, but still very common. And these could be used for a mixture of purposes. So either commercial real estate or to supplement working capital for a small business. These are typically a variable rate interest. So it's a little bit trickier for a small business that's tight on capital, but still a very attractive process. And even though it's a variable rate, the SBA gives such favorable rates compared to a private lender that usually it's still very attractive. The last one we're going to look at is maybe you have a client who is trying to make an investment. These are a little less common, but let's say you have an estate planning practice. You have a client who's a high net worth individual. Maybe they want to deploy a little bit of capital in chasing higher gains. So maybe they want to loan a company a convertible note. So debt, maybe the opposing party is going to prepare the debt documentation first. You get it on your table. Your client asks you to review it. You should have some familiarity with what the loan documentation process looks like for that purpose. Private capital, those funds are getting bigger and bigger, and they're becoming more and more accessible to the retail investor as well. So this could be something that you see happen more and more frequently over the next 2 to 5 years. So what I'm aiming to illustrate with this presentation is that this is not a process that you should be unfamiliar with. There's going to be times in your career as an attorney where you may be asked to review loan documents either as a first review on behalf of one of your clients, or even if you're in litigation, perhaps you get a lot of discovery, and some of that discovery involves loan documentations. You should be generally familiar with what you're looking at. So that's what this presentation is geared toward, not to make you an expert, not legal advice.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip, and if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on law practice and legal marketing. See you in our next clip.